Hello, this video is part of a recording of a meetup that I was invited to go to and talk at Oxford University. Here I go through my life homepage in Notion. And what I've done, I've sort of created a homepage, and this is my homepage. I call it my life homepage. And you can organize your homepage in many different ways. But how I've organized it is I've got things I'm working on, projects on the left. I've got life areas on the right, and just general sort of resources and reference in the middle. Yep. It's gone through several iterations since I started working with Notion, and it will continue to do so, and this is very much still evolving.
So this is for today's event, which is active project.
Yes, so that's something I'm working on, and that's why it's there. So let's have a look at some of these areas, and maybe let's start sort of on a higher level. It's used to manage your life. So actually, you could use it to manage your personal goals and just write them down and review them. Okay, so let's have a look at this page. Now I've got two pages here because I have some private personal goals, which I won't share. But here is an example of a goals page, and we can. Here we have some example goals, yeah, and you can split them up into lifetime goals, 5-year goals, 3 years goals. And what I've done here is actually I've added a sort of database. So actually all the lifetime goals and 5-year goals, they're actually in the same table and the same database. If I hover over here, there's something called a filter. And it's showing lifetime goals because what's defined is the timeline is the lifetime. And there's, for example, lifetime, 5-year, 3-year, and 1 goals. So if I go to, become a millionaire before retiring, and then you can see, you can actually pick a life area, a timeline, and a status. So here, if I change that to 5 years, that would move down to the 5-year list instead. And you can define your own properties. So what this means is, what else would we be tracking for a goal? Apart from status, timeline, we could add something. We could say description. And then we can add it as a text. Or we can have what is, because goals are meant to be smart, time bound, we can put a date, a due date. And then with that due date, it gives us a calendar functionality if we make sure we select the property type date. And then we can have, instead of millionaire before retiring, that we've changed it to 2 weeks, let's say. And then we can go back to our table, and yes, I think it's moved down to the 5-year goals because in the filter that we defined in this particular table, we have a timeline of 5 years. Okay, but we can add other filters. So if I wanted to say date, you can see we can have greater than, before, between dates, etc. to really sort of define exactly what you want to see on screen. Yeah? So that's like a personal goals page example. So going from the goals, we can say, what about sort of our different areas in life? So I've got sort of different general areas of life here on the right, such as health and business, health and fitness, career and business. Let's go to an example one here. Let's go into health and fitness. It seems I've got actual goals there as well, because that's specific to that life area. And if I open this up, you can see we've got a filter of life area and it's related to a timeline. So actually that table appears on both pages, my overall goals list, and when I want to review my health and fitness, it also appears there too. And that's what we can have databases, which this is a goals database, linked to many different pages, okay? So we'll go through how we can do this, sort of maybe after the break, like just a general feel of what's possible. And if I scroll down, also important in life areas or goals is maybe sort of habits, and therefore you can also have a habits database as well. You can go to the extent of using it to track your habits, which I don't. I'm actually just using it just to sort of list certain habits that you might want to sort of develop, and you can add sort of any that you like, and you can go into one and add more information if you want. So if I open that, that's a page. I've just added a place mark of something, but you can definitely develop that a lot more. Okay, back to my home page. So we've got your life areas, and your life areas might have different goals, different habits. So let's have a look at projects. So one of the projects I run is my meetup around rounders and football. Okay, it's called Social Sports Mix. We meet every Sunday in Regent's Park in the summer. And here, things I can do include just writing and having the content for the marketing of it, saving any sort of emails, and sort of any web bookmarks. So these just take you to an outside site. If I have pages within pages, so here one of the project pages is Rounders and Football at Regent's Park, and this is a map on where to find us, and this I share as a public page. So here on the right you've got a share option, and you can see here I've turned on public access. Okay, and actually it seems turning on I've also turned on duplicate as template. So what you can do when you actually share a page, if the other person has Notion, they can actually copy that page and add it to their own version of Notion and do their own edits as well. So this is a public page, so that's an example of how we use it as a public website. And with regards to the project itself, you can add whatever project pages and notes and tasks that you want. Yeah? Let's see if there's anything else with the homepage. Travel is good fun. Let's have a look at travel. So on the travel, I've got pages of holidays I've been to or ones that I want to go to in the future. So I'm going skiing for the first time in March, and here I have things such as a travel checklist, how to get there, accommodation, notes, travel schedule, maps. You can actually embed Google Maps, and then sort of to-do activities as well. I'm going to demonstrate now the Notion web clipper. So I still have yet got to work on planning this holiday a little bit more. So I don't know much about this place. Pas de la Casa. So let's say I'm going to Pas de la Casa.
Where is it?
It's in Andorra, and I'm just going to go to TripAdvisor to see if there's anything interesting there that I'd really want to see. So let's go to the TripAdvisor page. And where are the attractions? Well, let's say I want to save this page, okay? If I wanted to save this page, what I could do is on Google Chrome, there is an extension here that you can install, which is free. If we click on it, it says it remembers the page title and it lets me save the page, and it lets me save it wherever I want. So here, I actually want it to save in ski in Andorra, so I can select that. And now, when I save the page, it will appear on this page, okay? So actually, I think it appears down here right at the bottom. Yeah? There we go. And I think it's probably still loading, but actually it does load some of the text as well. It does save some of the text and a picture as well. And actually here, I'm going back to the main page. What I can do is, let's say that's a particular activity I want. I can just pull it in and drag and drop it into the activities section. Yeah? I might decide when I want to do it, or what type of thing it is if you want. And when it's there, I can even put it in my schedule. And so you can actually link tables
to tables
with each other. Yeah? So I think that's quite cool. Going back to travel, let's say I quite like that travel plan. What you could do is create something called template buttons. So I've added one here called Add New Travel Plan. So now that I've done some work on that one, if I click on Add New Travel Plan, it creates a page for me. And this page is structured in the same way as the last page, but it's blank. So now I don't have to go through creating everything again. So imagine you can have, templates for lots of different things, such as meetings, events, projects. I think travel plan is a really good scenario. Yeah.
There are generic templates available at Notion as well. So you can just, every time you create a new empty page, there will be selections for pages for templates.
And those that are done by the community as well. So here, if you really like that, I can share that with you, and you can actually use that as a basis. But if you don't like it, but like some elements of it, you can actually change it yourself and structure it your own way. Going back to the Live homepage, let's have a look at reading list. So this is something I'm still developing. So you can see here we have a list, and again it's based on a database, and we can use the Notion web clipper so that if there's anything you want to read on the web, you can add it to the reading list. On this case, it's actually a link to my links database. So here I can just click and it will just take me to the website in order for me to read that. But because I have the reading list in all one place, we can sort of categorize it. So here, within that, you can see we have properties where I've put a category for this, and I've got a type of reading list, because I can also save things such as videos. Yeah? And what that means is that you can have a page for any particular topic that you're working on, or project that you're working on, and have a reading list for each one. So if I go back to my home page, the main area of my work is something called Salesforce, which is a CRM system in which I use to implement for charities. And if I click on Salesforce,
by the way, CRM is client resource management.
Yeah,
people don't know.
But let's just pretend this is a topic that's of interest to you. You can create new pages on the left, and here you will see I have presented my web bookmarks, reading list, and video list. So actually, if I sort of click on any of these, it will take me to that particular section. And here, there's only two, because only these two,
What are templates?
yeah, only these two records have been tagged with Salesforce.
Oh.
Yeah, and I can either use the Notion web clipper or click new thing to read, and it's already tagged with the category Salesforce and reading list. And there it is. And then we could even pull in another filter, such as whether it's been read or not, completed equals not. So with regards to the reading list, if I finished reviewing it or reading it, I can just simply tick that box and it disappears from the list. It disappears because the filter has gone. Yeah? So I think in summary, what you can use Notion for is, well, it's very versatile. You could use it to manage all sorts of different information from, notes, wikis. I don't use it for everything. There are some limitations which we can sort of go through, but I think what we'll do now, though, is just have a pause to see if anyone has any questions, and then after that, we can see a different version of how Notion is used from YC. Any questions or thoughts?
I have been using the Notion for 3 months almost. So my suggestion is not to arranging thing for the beginners, just to type anything and create a page. Then you can align it anytime. So you need not to be create a home template at the very beginning. You can just write anything and create a page. And you can create the thousands of pages. Then you can align it within the, and anytime you can change space into text or change space into code. Anything can be done. So it's super flexible. You need not to be worried about that how you actually, what I can say,
organize everything, which can take a lot of time.
Yeah.
So one of the limitations in Notion, which I've experienced, and I think you've experienced, is actually, because it's so flexible, it does take up a lot of time. Did you say you had also?
I think it's the beauty. For example, I like your home page, so I need not to even copy your whole thing, but I can arrange.
Just take ideas.
Take the ideas.
That's So you wouldn't want to organize it like that. You'd organize it in a different way. I just like it like this because I don't like clicking much, so I actually want quite a lot on the home page. But I could have had a different page. I could actually bring my goals on my home page themselves. But I felt actually I just want space so I know exactly where to go to. Yeah.
And also, Corey got some questions.
I'm just wondering, for your work, do you do all of your work on here? So do you aggregate all documents from clients and stuff on Notion?
No.
No.
So while it bills itself as an all-in-one workspace, I just use whatever actually tool that makes things easier for me. So one of the things that I did experiment with, because we get very excited in Notion, is you can actually use it as a task manager. So with these projects, imagine I can have tasks on these projects and actually have a master task database. So I did try using that, but I have stopped using that because actually I've gone back to a dedicated task manager. And the reason why is, it's a bit of a jack of all trades as an application, Notion. It does a lot of things, but maybe because it's not so specified on a particular use case, it won't do certain things very, very well. And the key thing for me around task management, especially since sometimes I do some traveling and I also live in London, is it's not as good as an application such as Todoist for offline work. So this is mainly nearly offline. It doesn't have the best offline capability. I think they're trying to improve that. But there's certain things like that with certain things I would use other applications. There's calendar functionality within Notion. However, I don't use it as a calendar or events. And the reason being is my other workplace, they're using Microsoft. So I'm getting emails and appointments all the time sent to me by email, and therefore
will be automatically at the Outlook.
Yeah, it's automatically added to Outlook. So actually just use whatever application is best for you. Yeah. And even, I think you mentioned that you've moved away from paper. But I actually found, because you're spending so much time on screen, and my day job is implementing system, actually I want to spend less time on screen. So actually I do have a paper notebook as well. So I think when you're developing your system, it will evolve, and
it takes a bit of time to develop.
But it can be a tool to help you. And I would say I'm not someone that says put everything in Notion. Yeah, definitely. But the more you do put in, you can see how it can be integrated together. It's a really good planning tool, as you mentioned, Wes.
And also like so for because I'm a Mac user and I use Safari as the web browser, but at the moment Notion doesn't have a web clipper.
So this is this functionality here,
extension
unfortunately.
for Safari at the moment, so it will be better if you have a Chrome. Yeah.
I don't know if you might address this in the second half, but I was just really curious how you set up, like, is it just a massive database that you have that links to other pages?
That can be done. I mean, some people have done massive databases that are linked to other pages because you can link projects to goals to life areas. So the way that I have set it up is not all database. I have some pages and a few databases. I do find it sometimes thinking and considering a lot whether a particular area should be a database or a page. And I think there's advantages and disadvantages of both. I very much like the idea of linking things together with the databases, and so we'd be interested to see, if that's sort of an approach that you have taken. However, there are certain things I don't like about the database functionality, and I think this includes. Let's have a look. When you click on something, it doesn't open as a new page straight away as a big page. And also, you can see there's a lot of things here, and I think people have got, have built more complex databases, and it's annoying, I find, to scroll down. So there's sort of few considerations, and I think they might work on things such as being able to hide all of this, but. Yes, I did actually start off with doing more database work, linking tasks to projects. But, you really got to think, why am I doing this? Yes, a task does attach to the project, but is it worth my time to get everything sort of linked up? Yes, it's great. But I think the main thing that has evolved for me is I just want fewer clicks as possible to get me to the place that I want. But yeah, it is great to link everything. So I've linked where I think is it's a good idea to, such as the public goals, where these are databases, so I could bring them into other pages. Where you want to bring information on more than one page, I think a database is really good for that.
It's a good thing about Notion that you can have the functionality and flexibility to build the things that really works for you. So for me, I like database. I like a lot of things tracking. I'll show you later. And what was I trying to say? No, I think I mentioned it. The web extension.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Tom?
If you drop a Word file in, is it saved to your computer or to a cloud type of system?
Good question.
It's saved to the cloud. So you can drag and drop files into Notion as a block.
And then it won't link back to the file on your computer?
No.
No.
If you're using something like Google, then you can obviously actually either embed the Google document or you can link to it, and that will just take you to the web page.
Okay.
If it's embed, it will show the content as the document. But if you just use a link, it's like one link and open another tab in the web browser.
So if you've done some work on the Word document in Notion, don't send someone the document you still have on your computer because it won't be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But I think
question.
this limitation can be using the Google Doc. So you can work on live on Google Doc from the Notion.
Okay.
So I don't know how you can get.
So there's a file upload.
Yeah.
When you put a file there, it's like uploading the file, and it just stays there.
Okay.
Or you can upload a link to a file, like a Google file, and then
that'll be
live.
For Google Doc, anyone can embed that Google
Yeah.
Doc into the Notion. So if you work on Notion on that Google Doc, so it will be synced with the main file. So you need not to be worried about. So you can access to anywhere, either through Notion or either through Google Doc. But embedding the Word document is still not in place. I think soon it will be done. Also because it's almost the outsourcing or open sourcing like the art.
Yeah.
Everybody is building art. So I think Notion, many people are working on Notion.
Working on that.
So yeah, another limitation of Notion compared to other application is there's limited integration. So there's applications, for example, where they can talk to each other. So for example, if I use a project management tool like Trello or Asana, you can have things or applications that say, oh, when I create a project here, it automatically creates something within my task manager, Todoist. So this is what we call sort of APIs, so application interfaces, where you can get applications to talk to each other. Notion is working on that, but that's not been developed yet and released.
At the moment, there are only like 50 something people working on, but like for this is already a big task for them. Yeah. Any other questions?
There's some features here if you want to ask about any of those. Otherwise, we will pass over to YC to see her Notion.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine will be very, very short. I'm just gonna do
Here you go.